All right, today we are diving into, one of the most raw and just gut-wrenching stories in the entire Bible. It's a story of the prophet Ezekiel, and it's all about how his greatest personal tragedy was transformed into this incredibly powerful living message. So let's get right into it. So let me just ask you this. What if your greatest pain was also your greatest purpose? I mean, that's the central question here. It's a really tough one, right? But it is right at the heart of Ezekiel's story. And it kind of forces us to wonder if maybe the hardest seasons of our own lives, if they might hold a meaning we just can't see yet. Okay, so to really get the weight of Ezekiel's calling, we first have to understand the world he was living in. And let me tell you, it was a world of absolute chaos, crisis, and just total denial. So picture this. It's 597 BC. Ezekiel is literally ripped from his home and dragged into exile in Babylon. And his people, the nation of Judah, they are in complete disarray. I mean, politically fractured, spiritually totally lost. And they're all just clinging to this false hope that, oh, everything's going to be fine. God will rescue Jerusalem no matter what. And it's right into the middle of that denial that God calls Ezekiel to be his mouthpiece, to deliver a message they desperately needed to hear, but absolutely did not want to. And, pay attention to the command God gives him here. It's not about success. It's not about getting applause or seeing immediate results. Nope. The mission is simply to be faithful, to speak the truth no matter how the audience reacts. The crucial point, the real takeaway here, is that Ezekiel's job was all about obedience, not outcomes. And this is where the story takes an almost unbearably personal turn. God decides, you know what? Words aren't going to be enough. These people, they needed a sign. They needed a living, breathing sermon so shocking it would completely shatter their denial. I mean, can you even imagine hearing those words? God tells Ezekiel that he is about to take away the delight of his eyes, his wife. And this isn't just some vague prediction, no. This is a divine declaration. It's a devastating personal loss that is about to become a very public sign. And then come the instructions. And honestly, they are just brutal. Ezekiel is commanded to suppress every single natural human instinct to grieve. No weeping, no public mourning, only silent groaning. He has to act as if the deepest loss of his life hasn't completely shattered him. And you have to ask, why? Well, it's because his personal posture was the message. And this is where the parallel just clicks into place. It becomes so clear. Just as Ezekiel lost the delight of his eyes, his wife, the people of Israel were about to lose the delight of their eyes, the temple in Jerusalem. I mean, that temple was everything. It was their source of pride, their security, their whole identity. So Ezekiel's silent, stunned grief, it was a preview of the nation's own shock, a devastation so complete they wouldn't even know how to mourn. Now, this ancient story, it's not just history, right? It is packed with timeless truths for literally anyone navigating hardship. So let's unpack 5 key lessons that were forged in Ezekiel's pain, lessons that speak directly to you and me today. So we're going to walk through 5 really powerful takeaways from Ezekiel's experience. We're talking about faithfulness over results, how pain can be purposeful, the power of silence, how grief doesn't disqualify you, and finally, holding on for that breakthrough. Okay, first up, faithfulness over results. Look, we live in a world that is obsessed with metrics, right? Likes, views, applause, the whole shebang. But Ezekiel's calling is this powerful reminder that true success is just about showing up and doing the right thing, even when it feels like nobody cares or is even watching. Your responsibility is your effort, not their reception. Number 2, your pain can be purposeful. Think about it. Ezekiel's greatest loss became his most powerful message. Sometimes, the very thing that feels like it's breaking you down is actually building a testimony that someone else out there desperately needs to hear. The point is, God doesn't waste our suffering. He can transform it into a message of hope. Third, and this one's huge, silence can be a sermon. Ezekiel's silent grief, it got everyone's attention. In an age where we broadcast every single struggle online, sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is just quiet resilience. The way you carry yourself when life is absolutely crushing you, that is a message people simply cannot ignore. Fourth thing is this: grief doesn't disqualify you. I think a lot of us think we need to be fully healed or perfect before we can be useful to anyone, but honestly, that's a lie. Ezekiel was actively grieving, and he was still on mission. Your pain doesn't sideline you. In fact, it can actually qualify you.
It turns you into what's called a wounded healer, someone who can help others with real credibility because you've been there.
And finally, number 5, a breakthrough is coming. God promised Ezekiel that his season of forced silence would eventually end. So if you're feeling overlooked right now or ignored or just plain muted, hold on. This silent season, it isn't a punishment. It's preparation. God is developing your message in the waiting.
So let's bring this all together. What is the bottom line here? What do we take away from this raw, deeply human story? Well, it's all about reframing how we see our hardest moments.
Your suffering, it can become someone else's salvation. Seriously. It can become a lifeline of hope or a critical lesson for somebody else who's watching you navigate the storm. And that silence in the storm, it can speak volumes. Your quiet strength, your integrity when you're under pressure, your refusal to let yourself become bitter, that stuff preaches a sermon louder than any words ever could. Your brokenness doesn't bench you, it prepares you. Stop seeing your wounds as a reason you can't do something. They're your training ground. They're what build the empathy, the wisdom, and the strength you're going to need for whatever's next. And remember, your breakthrough is coming. Don't quit. That season of feeling voiceless, it will not last forever. So just stay faithful in the silence, because when your moment comes, you will have something real, something powerful to say. You see, Ezekiel lost the delight of his eyes, but he never, ever lost sight of his calling. He understood that his pain had a purpose far beyond his own understanding. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. In the midst of our own trials, our own pain, what's the calling that we refuse to lose sight of?